This ABC15 flash briefing is sponsored by Sanderson Ford. All roads lead to Sanderson Ford.
I'm Katie Rammel with your top stories from ABC15 Arizona. Some new data showing just how dangerous our state's heat's been this year. Maricopa County's weekly report confirming 12 more heat-related deaths this past week. That brings the total in 2022 so far to 29. Also, right now, nearly 200 heat-related deaths are under investigation. Because of this extreme heat, trails at a few popular hiking spots are going to be closed during the day anytime an excessive heat warning is issued. This is to keep hikers and first responders safe. The rule impacts popular trails on Camelback and Piestewa both today and tomorrow. And it's always important to make sure you're staying cool and hydrated, so the Salvation Army is activating 11 heat relief stations throughout the valley. Here's a map of those locations. They're open from 11 till 5. You can also find this information on our website. Summer weather brings another kind of threat to our state. Governor Doug Ducey has issued a declaration of emergency for Coconino County after back-to-back flash floods hit the burn scars just outside of Flagstaff. The governor signing the declaration that will open up more resources and funds to Coconino County. Last week, flash floods down the pipeline burn scar sent mud and debris impacting at least 200 properties. So far, Coconino County has spent at least $2 million on mitigation and response. We spoke with the county this week about how they will need to restore parts of the watershed, but that'll take time and cooperation with the feds.
It won't eliminate all flooding because we can't restore it for every flood event because the forest still isn't recovered.
The county is using the National Guard to help fill sandbags. It's costing them around $24,000 each day, but since the governor issued a declaration, most of those costs can now be reimbursed. With just about 4 months until the 2022 midterm elections, misinformation experts are pretty worried about social media and all those lies about the election. Many policies were put in place before and during the 2020 presidential election, but those policies haven't cut down on all that misinformation and in some cases have been revoked.
Midterm elections are harder than presidential elections for these platforms just because of what you said, 435 congressional seats, 30 some odd Senate races. I think it's some 30 odd gubernatorial races, state legislatures, others. It is much more, again, decentralized. Which makes it both harder to know where to tackle, but also harder to keep track of.
For instance, more than 100 Republican primary winners in statewide or congressional races have backed the lie of a rigged 2020 election, with many of those statements being made online. Well, it's cheaper to rent than buy in most of the U.S. right now, even as the average rent is soaring nationwide. The national average rent is roughly $1,900 a month. The analysis found that's 30% lower than typical monthly starter home costs. Analysts say mortgage rates and the hikes were the biggest driver in all of this. In the Valley, the median rent is nearly $1,800, while the monthly cost for a starter home is just more than $2,700. Some better news for those of you with back-to-back school shopping to-do lists right now. Our Smart Shopper team has ways to help you save on supplies. The National Retail Federation says back-to-school spending will likely match last year's record high of $37 billion. And while inflation is still a concern, experts say not everything on the supply list will cost you more.
One thing that I have noticed is that we are still seeing those standard school supplies sort of fall below that $1 mark. So we've already seen stores like Target that are offering, multi-packs of pens or pencils for less than $1 each, or, a 12-pack of like Crayola colored pencils for like 50 cents or something like that.
We have more tips on saving on back-to-school shopping on abc15.com/smart shopper.
Tracking your forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Amber Sellens, and we've got one more weather action day in store for tomorrow as our excessive heat warning remains in effect until 8 p.m. Temperatures looking quite a bit hotter, 90s to start the day, 100 as early as 9 a.m. and 115 in that forecast around 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We'll also have our ozone high pollution advisory that has been in effect every day this week, in effect tomorrow again too. Just a slight chance of isolated storms late in the day. Here's Here's a look at those monsoon storm chances across the state. And you can see it's eastern and southeastern Arizona. These spots in orange here with the best chances for scattered storms, but a slight chance in our valley forecasts too. And of course, all the typical monsoon storm threats like gusty winds, blowing dust, lightning, and pockets of heavy rain. Now, those storm chances really picking up over the weekend. A lot more monsoon moisture coming, which will help cool us down as these storm chances increase. We're up to a 50% shot for showers and thunderstorms on Monday.
For the latest headlines, weather, and traffic, visit ABC15.com or download our free ABC15 mobile app.
This ABC15 Flash Briefing is sponsored by Sanderson Ford. All roads lead to Sanderson Ford.